Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. No, it's still a beautiful day outside, and so we won't keep you long. We are very much looking forward to engaging with you.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We will start shortly.
All right. So thank you, everyone, for joining. This information session is for strengthening communities. My name is Mariah Washington. I get to serve as Director of Community Engagement, and I'm joined here with.
Hi, everyone. My name is Emily Rodriguez. I have the pleasure of serving as the Community Engagement Program Manager here at New York City Emergency Management.
So throughout these next 45 minutes, our goal, Emily and I will be going through a series of slides to educate you first on what our Community Engagement Bureau does here at New York City Emergency Management, and then to dive in deeper on what this program, Strengthening Communities, is all about. If you are a previous current member, you do not need to be on this call. This session is for the people that we are trying to recruit to apply for Cohort 4. You are going to see several boxes around. You can go to the Q&A icon, and that's where you can put your questions. You can also message Emily and I, and we'll be checking those questions and answering them as we see them coming.
Perfect. Thank you, Mariah. So we really want to set the stage for this information session by giving you all an opportunity to get to know what New York City Emergency Management does. So we have three basic pillars that we follow here at the agency: prepare, respond, and recover. I like to describe the photos on the slide just so you can get a pretty good overview of what I'm mentioning. If you look at the top left side of the slide, we have a table with a bunch of different individuals. Looks like they're probably chatting on some important meeting. And on the bottom left of this side, we have prepare, with a picture of some of our team outside in the park sharing preparedness information about how best to be prepared in New York. So for response in the middle section, what we really emphasize in that photo is just many different members, many different people in one photo, just showing camaraderie on how important getting everyone playing nice in the sandbox or getting together for a meeting to respond. And in the last photo, it looks a little more official. We have our commissioner in the top right picture with some of the emergency support center individuals walking through our warehouse, as well as the bottom picture on the right, some individuals with materials about preparedness and recovery. But to expand on these a little bit more, the preparedness piece is what Mariah and myself have the pleasure of serving on. These are related to our campaigns for preparedness on teaching individual preparedness as well as community preparedness. And what it really encompasses, yes, on this slide, is three different opportunities to engage. The first being New York City Emergency Management CERT. So that's our official community emergency response team. And the response team is able to go through, these are dedicated volunteers that undergo a training program that provide basic response skills related to fire safety, search and rescue, community disaster support. Those are just to name a few. And it's a great opportunity. You just have to be 18 or older to apply. Then we have our NYCEM Ready New York. So this is our individual preparedness program where we can learn about many different hazards that face New York and prepare New Yorkers for all types of emergencies by writing an emergency plan. So if you've ever seen us out in the community, it's a red booklet and it's 3 basic steps on how to be prepared. The preparedness pieces are also offered to all different types of individuals. So we serve the general population, older adults, kids, individuals with disability access and functional needs, immigrants, and those with limited language proficiency. So if any of these apply to you, we always have some team member here at NYCEM that can support those needs and go out there and present to your community. And then what we're here for today, we represent the NYCEM Community Preparedness Team. So Our program really encompasses strengthening communities. So when we say community preparedness, we're really focusing on community and faith-based organizations. And we have a specific toolkit, not the yellow one, that will dive into a little bit more so that you can get a better feel of what our team does. So we're continuing on the theme of photos here. We really like to be representative of all the different communities that we serve. So in the first column, what we have are our hyper-local community-based organizations. And you're probably asking yourself, what is hyper-local? When we say hyper-local, we really want to represent these small communities, depending on how you want to represent them. We don't want to put a label on hyperlocal, but basically what we ask here is if you're an individual who's a part of an organization, let's say in Harlem, and you represent disability rights, and that may be encompassed in a couple blocks or maybe in a certain zip code. We represent that as hyperlocal because that is your community and that's what you've discussed with us to say, this is what I represent myself as when I mention hyperlocal. So community-based organizations that have a common mission towards a certain goal, that's what we represent as that. Then in the middle section, again, going with the theme of the table, we have hyperlocal faith-based organizations. So these could be different congregations or faith-based organizations that work together in connection, also again with a common goal, but just in the faith-based realm. And then all three, what we do is that we want to make sure we get all of our community-based organizations as well as faith-based organizations communicating. So that's why we have that big room representative of having people in the same room talking about all of the collaboration efforts that are possible when speaking of preparedness.
Thank you, Emily, for giving that background. So we find it very important because we want to make sure that you're connecting the dots. And I see a couple of groups that have kind of ushered Jill. Jill has ushered you to join. So thank you for joining. I see your names and your organizations. Let me contain my excitement. What our work and when we are doing our community preparedness modules, our trainings, our coaching, we really are linked into the concept around community resiliency and the importance of social capital. So sometimes you hear the word resiliency, and for me, I had to navigate it and not make it become personal because a lot of us, it's like we don't have the choice to be resilient. We are from communities and neighborhoods where that is what we need to do in order to get through. And so you're like, why this emphasis? Within the Homeland Security, enterprise, and emergency management, what government is realizing is like, it can't be all of us. It takes everyone. And so there is a researcher, Dr. Daniel Aldrich, who has this wonderful quote. And this quote helps anchor our work that we do with our partners. And he's saying the collective ability of a neighborhood or geographically defined area to deal with stressors and resume life through cooperation following shocks, that is community resiliency. So that bounce back, you're not going to bounce back to normal, but you're going to bounce back to a place of, all right, we felt the impact of that emergency. What are the next steps? But that is all linked to the social capital. So there's one type of social capital, bonding. So that is, all right, I am an African American Christian and I hang around with other African American Christians and a couple of other African American organizations. Then bridging is, okay, like I'm a Christian, I'm African American, but I'm also hanging out with some Jewish folks, some Hindu folks, some Muslim folks, and we're all kind of exchanging and we're bridging the gaps regardless of our backgrounds, our cultural beliefs, our faith, and our theories in life. And then there's the linking. The linking is where we come in as government. The linking is Dr. Daniel Aldrich, as well as other researchers have found that when community groups are organized and they have a connection to elected officials, to the government, on the local level, state level, and or federal level, those groups are getting the resources needed to bounce back and recover. They're able to go directly to elected official or to government person, that will be Emily, Jill, Sanasa, and I, and say, hey, this is what's happening on the ground level. You know, we just got impacted by the flood, but did you know there are 4 different houses that have apartment basements and they're collectively 16 people displaced and no one's paying attention. Flag that for us and we're like, oh, wow, let's get some action going with that. So with community resiliency are all these social capital elements. When we are using the word disaster and emergencies, we're using it interchangeably. We are referring to weather-related emergencies. That could be coastal storm, extreme heat. It can also be a major winter storm or even strong winds. We also are speaking to infrastructural impact and emergencies. So a main water break can happen and flood out a community within minutes. We also are referring to man-made. So with preparedness does not prevent the emergencies. We know that it's not if, but when the emergency or disaster happens, how are you and your community groups going to be prepared in order to bounce back from the impact? So Emily kind of made a hint around it. She said we have our own toolkit, and Emily and I, Jill and Sanasa, we take great pride in the work that we do. When Superstorm Sandy hit, there was a lot of impact. And if we use the traditional word recovery, return to normal, we're not fully recovered even from Superstorm Sandy, right? After every major emergency, especially those that are weather related or that impacted thousands of people, we always have what we call after actions, which is like a very formal process to debrief. And in that debrief, it was, hey, we as city government, we're not really connected to community and faith-based groups in the way that we should and could. And so that was a call to action. New York City Emergency Management, along with a couple of other agencies and community partners, said, hey, we see a need, let's fill that need. And we can fill that need by creating this toolkit for community groups like networks, groups that already have multiple member organizations. They might already have common grounds around environmental safety. They might already be anti-violent. They might be a youth development-based group of 18 member organizations. Let's give them information for them to build out an emergency plan for their defined neighborhood. And so that's where the toolkit came. We don't, and we have never used the toolkit and just passed it off the way that we passed off the Ready New York, because the toolkit is not designed to just look at it and know exactly what to do. The toolkit, if we're sharing it with you, we're coming with the toolkit. We're saying, hey, can we sit with you so we can talk this over with you and your leadership team? Within that toolkit, there's something that we really talk about and something that we want you to know. Strengthening communities is not about creating and turning you into another emergency manager. This is about you are already a dynamic leader, a mover, and a shaker, and we want you to be equipped to lead your other leaders and volunteers so that the population that you're serving won't be in too much shock. They will have trusted leaders like yourselves that they're able to look up to know, okay, you know what you're doing and you're connected to government. Great. Because government cannot be here, there, and everywhere at the same time. So what you're able to do will determine how much stronger and resilient your neighborhoods could be. So right here, you see a slide called the emergency cycle. And so this is something that all emergency managers utilize. And while I'm not turning you into an emergency manager, it's good to know the cycles because you can begin to plug in where the work fits. Emily already gave us a big hint. Preparedness is a lot of the bulk of the work that we get to do because we're doing that education. So preparedness is planning how to respond to an emergency. Behind the scenes, we have dozens of folks, hundreds of folks citywide that create plans for any and every type of emergency. That's not what we're asking you to do in strengthening communities, don't worry. Then there's the response. So when the emergency happens, how can we get and respond, we being government, and make it and minimize the disaster and the impact? So there's that response. So you think of fire department, the police department, Department of Buildings, you think of medical practitioners, even Department of Sanitation. These are folks that are going to be on the ground, quick, fast, in a hurry to minimize the impact. Then there's the recovery. There's that bounce back to the new norm. That recovery part is really dependent on the community because in so many ways, in order for recovery funding to occur, there has to be a declaration made at the state level and then at the federal level. And then this magical key comes that unlocks a chest full of money that is then dispersed throughout organized groups. And there's a mitigation piece. how can you minimize the effects of a disaster? Do you already have a community garden that can help decrease the amount of rain flow that overflows throughout the block? The work that you get to do with us is going to rest mostly in preparedness and a little bit in mitigation. So within this toolkit, you see we break it down before the emergency, after the emergency, and putting your plan to action. If you were to have this toolkit before you, that's how we have aggregated or separated the information. But what you should know is that this is the foundation of how we were able to create the trainings that we have within community preparedness. So if you go through this process and you say, hey, strengthening communities is not going to be for us, this might be a little too intense, we still have other ways to engage with you. Those other ways are listed here. We have targeted community preparedness training. So on the left side, we have organizational preparedness. So it might be a small house of worship, a pantry, and we focus on what are the 3 steps you can take to get and prioritize services so that when the emergency happens, you're still going and you are prioritizing the services that you provide for your target population. We also have the DAFN 101 for organizations, and that's disabilities, access, and functional needs. So often we create phenomenal plans and we forget about the people who may have physical and unseen disabilities within our populations that we serve. Access and functional needs regards to languages, older adults, younger people. So we all have folks that fall in the category of DAFN. And so what considerations should you take as an organization to ensure that your plan and your strategies are incorporating next steps for the people that you serve that might have disabilities, access, and or functional needs? We also have the how to plan for multiple emergencies. We stumbled upon that in 2020. COVID-19 body slammed us left and right. And then some communities were having multiple household fires. Some folks experienced main water breaks. And so how are you able, as a group, as a community, how are you able to keep going? In the center, we have some modules that we are able to do that we created based off of that toolkit that we told you about. So we have the mapping and resource guide, we have a needs assessment, emergency communication strategy plan, and how do you manage donations and volunteers. And so all of these trainings are available to you for free right now without strengthening communities. However, you're here because someone has said, hey, you should try strengthening communities out. And so that is what we get to talk about right now. With strengthening communities, you're going to go through in the first year 5 different emergency planning modules. You're going to receive unrestricted funding for your network. That means that we're not going to say you only can spend money on technology. You can't spend money on food. You can spend the monies however you choose to spend the monies. And you're going to keep your organization in order based on whatever protocols your organization has for when you get audited, like your organization will normally experience. You will have a complete and functional community emergency plan upon the completion of the first year of programming, and you will be part of the enhancement of the culture of preparedness.
So something that I really want to emphasize here now that Mariah's kind of broken down all of the offerings that we have is that the Strengthening Communities program, what we really encompass is preparedness and capacity building trainings, which she mentioned. These are going to be really important because this is what's going to get you not in the shoes of an emergency manager, but really feeling like one. All of the trainings that are going to encompass how your organization can really be the boots to the ground that you already are and utilize those plans to create a needs assessment, create communication strategies, and so forth that are useful within your community emergency plan. Sorry, excuse me. We also want to emphasize that coaching and technical assistance is the main facet of our programming. We will never leave you astray. We are 4 team members that are here to support you all throughout the process. So if you ever have questions after a training, we are available. We actually host open office hours so that even if you didn't get to get all your questions answered during that training, you'll be able to refer either to your direct coach that you're assigned to or one of the rest of the team that will be able to answer your questions. And then community and team development, something that we really highlight is the opportunity to co-collaborate with all of the great organizations that are in strengthening communities. We try to provide as many opportunities as possible in the virtual space and also outside of it for you to collaborate and learn about all of the different work that other organizations are doing. Mariah definitely touched on this, really emphasizing on utilizing the other networks within strengthening communities to learn about maybe something disability access and functional need that you didn't know already, or maybe you just want to take advantage of a lot of the trainings that we'll be sharing also.
Emergencies happen. That's why New York City offers the Strengthening Communities program. It's open to local networks with strong community connections. Our experts help your network build a community emergency plan. And your network gets paid as it completes each step. Apply now, because it pays to be prepared.
So Emily got to she touched on the key pieces that you need to know. What we are doing with Strengthening Communities program, we are entering into our 4th official year of programming. We have had 37 community networks, coalitions go through our program of year 1. And within year 1, we are focused on establishing that comprehensive community emergency plan with you. We are letting you define community. And so you might say, hey, we're located on 163rd and Simpson Street, but we're focused on these 2 blocks right here. You might also say, oh, we're in the Banana Kelly area of the Bronx. And so this is our radius, and this is who we're focused on. And we're going to say, okay, we're not going to come to you and say, can you also include these other 6 blocks in this community? We want to lean on the skills and the network that you already have. You're going to continue to hear me say you. And as I say you, we are referring to your network with other member organizations. This program is not going to be successful if it's just one person doing all the work. We have seen it. It's not sustainable. And what happens is after the first module, the person becomes fatigued and overwhelmed and saying, hey, like somebody gave this to me, I can't do it. We want you to have 2 or 3 people on the team that are committed to the process, attending the trainings with you, because what we do is we give you the training, we give you the coaching, and then we navigate the journey along the way. We're not giving you the toolkit and saying, here's what you have to do, finish it by June. That's not what we're about. We're going to go on the journey along the way with you. We're going to have 3 to 4 touch points with you. These touch points include the training, the coaching session, and if you come to any of the open office hours that are all held virtually. The whole Strengthening Communities program is held virtually during year 1. So you don't have to worry about commuting to Brooklyn, where our office is located, or us rushing to you. Now you might request, can you come to this meeting and help us out? And between the 4 of us, we're going to figure it out and we're going to get ourselves there to be of support. But for this actual program, with the trainings, with the technical assistance, it's all going to be a virtual experience for you. Year 1 looks and feels like a lot, but let's break it down and slow it down for you. So year 1, again, it's all about the emergency planning cycle. You are creating that emergency plan for the neighborhood and the community that you have defined, that your network touch, moves, and aspires within your own expertise. The first month, we do the needs assessment. We'll do what's the needs assessment for you. Here's what we're thinking what a needs assessment is. Here's how it could be used for emergencies. Assessing the needs after an emergency. Hey, we have a whole bunch of mothers and they need diapers. Who can provide diapers within our community? Nobody? Who could we link up with that could possibly provide us funding for us to purchase diapers? Needs assessment. Community map and resource directory. For that, many of you have done some sort of community map, and you might have done it on flip chart paper, poster board. Some of you might say, no, I have a digital map, Mariah and Emily, and that's cool as well. Throughout this workshop, what we do is we navigate the experience of using Google Maps, because when you use Google Maps, you're also able to kick out a spreadsheet that you're able to convert into a resource directory. That resource directory is helpful because it's good to know what resources you have available. This is not about listing every grocery store and bodega in your community, but you're listing actual resources that you and your network depend on and have relationships with. So that way, when the emergency happens, you are able to go and connect with folks and assess the needs and say, oh, we can go to Mo Washington hardware store. She's able to provide us with whatever we need. And based on this need assessment, we need fill in the blank. The communication strategies. For this is about writing a script, writing scripts for various scenarios. So for me, like I've memorized my grandma's phone number for over 40 years, but when that emergency happens, my mind might do some weird things. Those weird things will be that my mind is not memorizing everything. So we are really pushing you to document everything. And you're documenting everything, not for you as a person, you're documenting it for you as your network. So another leader in your group can pick it up and it all makes sense to them. And so you're going to always ask us, can we see an example? And we're going to smile and we're going to graciously say no, because we don't want you to define this is successful and this is not successful. We want you to create the plan based on what's authentic to your level of understanding for you and your network. We're going to give you a module training around donations and volunteers, how to manage that. Oftentimes, the emergency after the emergency is the unsolicited donations and volunteers that pop up out of nowhere. And they're saying, we're here to help. Hey, we brought more water. You didn't ask for water. Where are you going to store that water? You have no space for the water. So how do you say no? And writing that script out so that you all can stick to it and you don't have to feel like, oh, I feel bad. Nope, we talked about this. Here's the plan. Let's stick to the plan. You're going to put all of these 4 deliverables together, and then you're going to put and create an emergency response framework, which is your community emergency plan. And so someone asked a really great question. They said, this feels like a full-time job, Mariah. No, we want you to budget 10 to 12 hours a month, right? With you working with 2 to 3 colleagues within your network. When you're trying to do it all on your own, it might take more than that. Because for me, if I'm already working 50 hours for my work week and I'm working with my women's group and I'm doing a program like this, my goodness, that could be up to 80 hours a week if I'm doing 10 hours, 10 hours, 10 hours. So we want you to share the responsibility with the rest of your network. And you see the cost value that we've created. Within year 1, you can earn up to $40,000. And we've listed the different elements like that. For needs assessment, a $5,000 value, community map and resource directory, $10,000, communication strategies, $6,000, donations and volunteers, $5,000. And you see the biggest one, the emergency response framework, is $14,000. And part of why it has the biggest bang for the buck is because that's where you're putting everything together. So I have right here the slide, Strengthen Communities Program Lifeline. What I want you to know is that our program is not a one and done. For us, that means you're not doing this program 1 year and it's like, see you later, NYCEM. We want you to stay with us, stay connected to us. So we've created a program to be year 1, you earn up to $40,000 because you earn based on what you deliver, right? So I can't say you're guaranteed 40,000. If you don't put the work in, we can't compensate you for all of it. But if you go along this process with us, you will get all of these deliverables completed. Year 2 and beyond, this is $10,000 sustainment funding. We create loose deliverables each year for sustainment. One deliverable that will always be there will be to host a certain amount of preparedness events in your neighborhood and be compensated for that. And so sustainment funding is really about now you have the knowledge, now you're socializing that plan with your other leaders and you're starting to educate the population that you're serving. And so that level of resiliency as it pertains to disasters, the bounce back is stronger, is more strategic, and there's confidence anchored in it. Emergency response community outreach is something that we have been utilizing at least 4 times now, where we get to compensate you to do additional outreach in your specific communities. You might work with a community that speaks 4 different languages, and you say, all right, we're going to translate this material, and we're reaching out to this community, Mariah. Hey, Jill, you know what? We're able to work with the Bengali community. So right now, here's what we've done to let them know the storm is coming, to remind them that they live in the basement, come to higher ground. We even took it a step further. We made phone calls and texts, and we're going to say, thank you so much. Can you show us the data? And here's the compensation for that. There are times where we might tap you because you all are experts already in the community in specific sectors. And so we might say, hey, there's this need over here. Are you able to fill the need? Here's what we're able to compensate you. And so for us, this program Lifeline is really about that third element of social capital. I don't know if you remember that third one, but it's that third one and the importance of us linking together so that when the emergencies happen, we as government are linked to you, you as community, you're linked to us. And we have a two-way communication, and it's just not a top-down situation happening. This part right here is really for some of you who are the grant writers, or you might manage the funding throughout your organization. You may be the lead organization of this coalition. And what we want you to know is where our source of funding has come from. In the past, we started off with federal COVID funding. Then we were able to get some city tax levy funding. And now, for the next 5 years, we have guaranteed income. So we're not trying to figure out the next source of income. And we have the Community Development Block Grant Recovery Fund from IDA. And so this funding is what is allowing strengthening communities to go on for the next 5 years without us scrambling, looking for money. What is important for you to also know is that we will never be the persons dispersing the fundings to you directly, right? It is our third party vendor, Citizens Committee of New York. They will go through a process and they will provide the direct payment. So your checks won't say from the city of New York. Your checks will say delivered by Citizens Committee for New York City. And so they're the ones dispersing the funding. This was a way that for us to ensure that things were equitable. Some of you may say, well, Mariah, my personal documentation is not together. I don't have a social security number. We don't want to know that. You don't need to tell us that. What we need from you is a fiscal sponsor. If you don't have a 501c3, find a fiscal sponsor within your network, and that's where the monies can go. Whoever you choose, they're managing the money, because once we say yes, go ahead and release the money to Citizen Committee, it's no longer our responsibility. Our responsibility is to make sure you get paid. So whoever you document as your fiscal your fiscal sponsor, that's the person you need to have the strong relationship and trust to know that they're going to do what you need with that money. So it's important to know after each deliverable, you get the training. Like Emily said, you get the coaching, you complete the deliverable. And as a team, we review that deliverable. For each deliverable, we go through these steps. At the end of the program year, when you complete the last deliverable, you submit the invoice for all the deliverables, and that's when the funding will be dispersed to your organization for you to then figure out what to do within the network. So those are the steps around receiving funding, disbursements. What are the sources of information or the sources of funding coming? When we say it's unrestricted funding, that means we're not tracking and documenting, here's how you must spend your money. We may call, we may text, we may email and say, hey, just curious, how have you been able to use money? Any cool things? You might say, yeah, like we've been able to actually hire some young people as interns. We've been wanting to do that for a couple of years. So how you decide to utilize monies, that's your discretion. We're asking out of curiosity. We want to know if we're filling a need. We know that $40,000 is not going to break your bank in terms of like, yes, we're in the money, but we know it's seed money to encourage you that we do value you. We know the work you do is important, and we're going to do what we can to keep creating these opportunities for you as well.
So continuing to echo on that idea that we really value the partners that we work with, we have sustainment programming. So for up to $10,000 a program year, we activate our active networks. You can either opt in or opt out, but this is a really exciting opportunity that many of our current Strengthening Communities partners take advantage of, as they've been able to respond to different emergencies. Just to name a few: flooding, deep freeze, different gas leaks and power outages, the influx of refugees that we've seen in the city. So they all utilize their own unique experiences within their organization to apply that to valuable partnership in our EOC Operations Center when we need a specific role in response. We also want to emphasize here that we continue to emphasize the culture of preparedness. So our partners engage throughout the year in different Ready New York presentations. As we mentioned at the beginning, that individual preparedness program, they really adopt that culture and implement it in their own community. So they invite us out, and we really have the opportunity to engage with older adults and younger kids through really fun events. And that also gives them the opportunity to socialize their emergency plan. So during those events, it's really talking to the community members who maybe haven't seen it activated, and give them the opportunity to learn that in the case of an emergency, their local community network has that response plan. We also like to host, depending on the season, that New York has all different types of emergencies related to heat, coastal storms, and winter. We really want to give the opportunity to learn about all those different seasons that we experience. So we'll host tabletop exercises that partners are able to learn more about how to respond to those specific emergencies. And then Everbridge, if you haven't heard of it before, it's actually a emergency notification system. So we train and onboard our networks to utilize this within their communities. And what it really encompasses is being able to send those quick notifications in the event that something's happening directly to someone's phone, and then having the user on the other end respond if they've received the message or not, and then having some response in that case. And then encompassing all of that together, the emergency activations, again, like I said, is our partners really responding based on all of that knowledge that they've gathered from year one, and putting it into practice if we ever need them to collaborate with us on an emergency. So I know that we've spoken a little bit about how many partners we work with throughout the city, but I think this map is a really great highlight of how much we've been able to cover with the help of our networks. If you see, the colors are a little convoluted, but you can kind of tell how many networks on here, which Mariah mentioned are 37 at the moment, but we have partners throughout some of the upper areas of Queens. We have some in downtown Brooklyn, the Harlem and Bronx area, and some partners, well, that looks like most of Staten Island, so Staten Island. But this map is not to skew anyone away from applying. Although we have coverage in different areas throughout New York, like we said, we're looking for hyperlocal networks, and it could really encompass any borough with it, or city or zip code throughout the 5 boroughs. And just to give you a little bit of an idea of all the cities that we're touching with our community networks, our Cohort 1, you can see some of Brooklyn and Queens is represented. Cohort 2, we have Queens, a little bit of every borough, but especially in Cohort 3, which was the biggest of our networks, with 20 who joined, we really were able to represent all of the 5 boroughs.
So at this point, you might simply be asking, okay, like I get the program for the most part. What are you looking for in the network? We're looking for a network that has existing member organizations and systems. When we have the application, we want you to follow the instructions and the expectations within the application. If the application says that you have been around, and to qualify, you need to be a network that has been around for at least 2 years, and have held biannual at minimum meetings with member organizations. If you don't do that, please don't apply. And we say this to save yourself the stress and burden, and to save ourselves the stress and burdens. We've had community groups excited, they start, and they're one person doing it all. And we're like, well, where's the other 30 people that you talked about in the application? It said that there were 30 member organizations and that you were the lead. And then they kind of look over and they're like, so please, like, operate with integrity, but also operate within the capacity of your member organization. If you already struggle with convening the folks and corralling them, maybe pause for the cause and hold off with applying. We want to know that you have connection throughout your community and you have impact. You get to define that within the application, and it doesn't have to be emergency related. So don't say, well, we've never done anything around emergencies. That's totally okay. Have you been managing food pantries and managing trainings throughout houses of worship throughout your neighborhood? That's great connections. That's great impact. Document it. We want to know that you have a commitment to serve and develop as well. And so when the application does roll out early October, we want you to look through the guidelines, be honest, pause for the cause, assess, talk to the other community leaders that are part of the coalition, and then consider applying. We want and we need you. We have space for up to 20 different community groups. What that means, though, is if we get 20 applications, everyone's not being accepted if they're not meeting the qualifications within the application. Within the application, it will already give you what we are going to be rating each section on. There will be people from NYCEM that will review, and there is a third-party vendor that will have the final decision as well, and they will oversee the process that we go through. So it's a competitive process. The people that have been recruiting you will not be a part of the process. The only person from the team that's a part of the process of reviewing is myself. And then I have to recruit other staff members who aren't even affiliated with community engagement, because we want to make sure it's balanced. I want to make sure, like, Jill has been rocking it out. If I have Jill rating, she's naturally going to rate some people higher. Emily and Sanasa, they'll naturally rate, oh, I got to put a little extra point on this group. So we're making it as fair, as equitable as possible. And we have a third-party vendor who's going to oversee and say, hey, what's up with these notes and scores over here? That's not accurate. And so we're going to go through that process. The timeline that you can expect right now, we're hoping to have that application ready for you early October. You're going to have about 6 weeks. The Friday before Thanksgiving, the application will be due. That will be the deadline. And then for that rest of November and part of December, the applications will be reviewed. We look to notify you in December, and programming will start in January. For year one programming, there is going to be January all the way to about June, possibly a little bit of July, depending on holidays and how they fall, and depending on the pace that your community group can work. If your network finishes everything June 30th and we give you the stamp of clearance, we'll say submit your invoice, you get paid. It's not that you have to wait for this group over here that might need a couple of extra weeks. So when we are ready to pay, it's based on your network's completion of all the 5 deliverables. And you can't jump ahead. You have to do each module at a time. There is no minimum or maximum budget in terms of your organization. We're not looking at that information. We do need to know, if you know you're not a 501c3, we just need to know that you do have a fiscal sponsor. And what that means is you have someone that has a 501c3 that's saying, hey, we received the monies for the Washington network, and we will ensure that they get the monies. That's it. So let that be the least of your worries as well. We're going to stop there, and we want to make sure that we're opening the floor up for questions. We have a list of all the networks. We do not share that publicly with you all. We don't want you to be discouraged of not applying, because on that map, you saw that there was a little bit of coverage. It is okay for multiple coalitions to overlap in different neighborhoods. So when you look at this map, you see that there is some overlap, and that's okay, because we have groups like Haitian American Alliance. They have a target population of Haitian Americans, right? And so if there were other folks in Flatbush, but their target population are Chinese and Koreans, that's great, because Haitian American Alliance, they're not touching that area. They're touching the Haitian American population and some houses of worship in the Caribbean community there. And so with that overlap, it's totally okay. We want you to be more focused on, does your coalition have the capacity? And do you have a team of 2 to 3 people that's going to help you with this process? We're not in the business of one person doing it all. It's not sustainable. So take a look, go to our website. You've tinkered. We will give a recording early next week. It will be this recording because this is the best recording of the 2 days. You can scan this interest form, but what you should know and what you need to know is that once the applications are ready, we're going to email this whole group that registered for the Zoom. If you have questions, we want you to email us at communityprep@oem.nyc.gov. And just know that we're here for you. Like this whole process, we get to do it together. Like we're literally in this process together. It's not about the race. We got to go faster. We have to stick to a timeline, but we want to go at the pace that you're able to. Everything that we do, we facilitate in English for strengthened communities. However, we have had folks that speak multiple languages within their coalition, and then they go and they tap the folks that are bilingual, and then from there, they create the ripples in the various language groups. So please don't let that be a limitation. We need someone that does have solid English, because all of our written material and presentations and our coaching is going to be in English. There are 2.5 of us that speak Spanish out of the 4 of us. So we could do some Spanish translations, interpretations here and there as well. But for the most part, all that we do is in English. I encourage you to type your questions in if you have any questions. Yes, we're going to provide this recording and the slides to all of you early next week. I'm not seeing questions. So Emily, I'm thinking we did pretty good on this one, or people might be overwhelmed, and we don't want you to be overwhelmed. Like truly, it can be a fun journey when you have a team. For this program, teamwork makes the dream work. This is not a time to, I don't want to make sports references because I don't want to get people upset, but this is not a superstar moment where I'm going to rise and shine. There's no I, it's we, WE. We are going to do this together. So really evaluate who your core team could be. That's where we've seen folks have the best success. Of the 37 groups that have come through the program, 35 remain active. We had 21 groups start with us last year, and 1 dropped. So our retention rate is pretty good.
We actually had another question come through in the chat. How many people do you want in the coalition?
So that will be listed within the application. Sometimes we say we want at least, somewhere between 3 to 5 at minimum member organizations that are part of your coalition. It could be that you're able to say like, look, we are made up of 5 houses of worship, but here's how we work as a coalition.
I'm not seeing any more questions.
Yeah, I'm not either. I don't want to cut it too short, so I'm okay with silence. We'll stay here for another minute or two if you have a question that you think of. Yes. Okay. Thank you for that. Can different groups and churches work together in one coalition? Yes. We have that. Actually, Emily and I were there this morning in the East Bronx with one of our networks, and they are one core church, but they have multiple churches. They also provide social services. And so they're really building up their network now, because when they applied, they were like, oh, we got 5 people. We're like, okay, great. And now they're realizing, hey, we got to socialize it with the other folks so they could be committed. So we want you to go ahead and like do the elbow. Hey, can you commit to this? Here's what it looks and feels like. Some of you have come here by way of email, by way of talking to Emily, Sanasa, and or Jill. If you have their information, I would say follow up. If not, email us at communityprep@OEM. If you're like, hey, can I just schedule a conversation, just have some clarifying questions I wasn't comfortable asking, or I needed time to process, that's what we're here for. Once that application comes out, it's going to be very clear what we're looking for and what we need. And I just want you to operate with integrity. If you know that your coalition does not have the capacity to do the work, don't apply yet, but stay connected to us because we went through those slides. There are so many different trainings that we can do in person or virtually with you, in spite of you not being able to do the cohort 4 application process. Oh, whoa, we got a couple of, okay. So someone's asking, hey, we became official about 18 months ago by the year end. What I would say is wait for the application to come out, because if you were already meeting twice a year and the application says that you've been meeting for twice a year, then keep on keeping on. If it's like, well, we literally didn't start to this date, just hold off. Don't make your decision yet. Wait for the application to come. Because what is true for us is that you already know how to work together and that you know how to meet. Because we have had folks who've joined and they've asked us for support to like, how do I hold a meeting? Can you show me what to do for an agenda? And while we know how to do those things, when we're going through year one programming, we don't have the capacity to pause and do those elements of training and support for you all. Okay, somebody asked about the budget. So the budget, there is no budget requirement. I know that there's other grants that ask for, you only qualify if your budget is under 25 million or over 1 million. We're not looking at that information. When we say hyper local, we are not attracted to organizations that are located in New York City, Seattle, Atlanta, and Chicago. We're not interested. We're interested in the super local groups that may not have a website, but are there touch, moving, and inspired. And part of why I say that is because usually the nationally known organizations, they already have systems and structures that get them prepared for emergencies. So we're really trying to like hook and reel those folks who haven't got this type of training. They don't have this type of knowledge or access. Yes. So if you are a coalition and you're like, we've been working together for many years, yes, that's what we need to know. If you say official in the sense of we became a 501c3 last year, we're not looking at that. We're looking that you've already been working together for a certain amount of years. You know how to convene and have meetings together. Yes, coalition, network. I'm using it interchangeably. When we say that, we're looking for a group of member organizations that are working together. Some people might say, well, I'm a COAD, I'm a community organization active in disasters. That's fine. That's a coalition/network that works towards emergency preparedness and emergency response within their communities. You might be a group of multiple houses of worship. You might be a group of 6, 7, 12 different environmental justice entities. You might be a group affiliated with NAACP, a women's group, environmental justice, and 5 food pantries. That's a coalition. You're already linked around something. And because you're already linked and connected on a common idea, and it might be, I'm using Washington because that's my last name. It might be the Mo Washington neighborhood is our catchment, and we come from all walks of life. There's 18 of us and we do 18 different things, but we're united around what happens in Mo Washington. That's a network and coalition for us. You do not need a 501c3. You do need a fiscal sponsor. So you need someone that has a 501c3 that will serve as your fiscal sponsor to be the recipient of your monies. How you manage that is how you manage that. All we're going to do is say, Citizens Committee, disperse the money to them. And then if you say, well, I never got the money, we confirm if the money went to the fiscal sponsor that you told us, and that's it. The rest is on you to manage. Well, we're going to stop there. I thank you all for your time. Emily, Sanasa, Jill, and I are super excited about this process. Dive into YouTube. There's some old videos on there as well. If you're like, oh, I just got to hear this again, we're going to send the recording next week. You get to hear the recording. You could play the audio in the background. You can also look through the slides as well. Once you start that application process, we are not going to be here to coach you through the application process, because we need to steer as clear and not influence what you say or do. And so it's going to be critical that if you have questions popping up now, get those questions in these next couple of weeks, because once you start the application process, we're not going to be able to have one-on-ones and say, write this, write that. Like, we want it to be a fair, competitive process. Someone is asking me about applying for a 501c3. As a religious organization, can you apply for a 501c3? Yes. Do you need to apply for a 501c3 to participate in strengthening communities? No. You need to be linked to another organization that has a 501c3 that could receive the funding for you and your coalition, because you're not going to be able to apply if you're just one organization or one house of worship. We need 3, 4, 5 or more member organizations that make up that coalition and network. All right. So thank you. I'm going to stop the recording here. Have a great night. Emily and I will hang tight for another few minutes, and then we're going to go off script as well. So thank you so much for your time. We appreciate all the great questions. We'll stop the recording. And if you have any other quick questions, we'll be here for a few minutes.